All right, guys, welcome back to the Street Parking Podcast. I am super excited today because we have EC Synkowski of Optimize Me Nutrition to talk about some really amazing nutrition stuff that we're going to be bringing you guys. And I can't wait to get into it. EC?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
I mean, I guess we could really, EC, why don't you tell people, EC's kind of like got a black belt in nutrition, but why don't you we can start off, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my company I started is Optimize Me Nutrition, and I started that back in, 2018, really just trying to make nutrition simple for people.
Imagine that, make it simple.
Make it simple. So we definitely overlap in some themes and some pieces that we'd like to see in people's nutrition and fitness. So started just doing more educational programs for people, and that's kind of the main focus of what I try to do.
Yeah, if you guys are on social media, you might have seen her in like a banana suit or juggling fruit or
a platinum blonde wig.
Yes, what's her name again?
Kiki,
that's right. Yes. Yeah. So no, I think it's really, our messaging really aligns, and that's why this, partnership or whatever we want to call it. Collab. It really works well with our messaging in street parking when it comes to nutrition, which is consistency is everything, right? Same thing we with the way we talk about our fitness. But you have to kind of find what works well for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, our goal at Street Parking when it comes to nutrition is to get you guys to fuel your body for performance, to live a long, healthy life, and we want you guys to be consuming more of the items that we don't typically consume, which is getting us to eat more of the whole unprocessed foods. And we're excited because some of these nutrition programs that we have coming your way are going to get you guys to do that in a variety of different ways. So we're going to kind of dive into some programs that we've partnered up with EC and why we created them and talk a little bit more about it.
Yes.
Yeah, we're super excited. Basically, we are partnering with EC to bring you guys some nutrition programs that are going to live in the Street Parking app. So this is big because we have really nothing nutrition related in the app, anything like this.
Yeah.
So if we can almost picture these programs are going to be similar to something like our extra programs. They're going to kind of look like that in the app. And we have partnered up to do the 800-gram challenge. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about what is 800 grams?
Yeah, so it's a really simple diet approach that I consider the first step that I give with clients. And I appreciate that there's lots of different ways to skin the nutrition cat. But for me, when I work with people, it's definitely the first go-to for me. And so it's for people to eat 800 grams by weight of the fruits and veggies of their choice. And then they continue to eat whatever else they want. Mm-hmm. And it also can be cooked, canned, frozen, or fresh. So it doesn't always have to be, locally sourced fresh kale or something like that. And it's a really nice way for people to get that healthy daily dose of fruits and veggies in their diet without necessarily worrying about all the other details. And we find that 80 to 90% of Americans are not eating enough fruits and vegetables. So for me, it's almost, where else would I start when we're talking about getting more whole and processed foods? It's such, here we go, nutrition pun, the low-hanging fruit, if you will.
There we go.
To try to help getting a better balance of the whole foods in the diet. And it's great because, again, there's no restrictions. And so people can really, you want to do more bananas in the day, that's great. You want to do more apples or fruit in the day, that's great. That's not less than, other food options that are out there. Potatoes are very healthy. It doesn't always have to be, again, blueberries and spinach for a healthy diet.
Yeah, so basically what we've done is we've created a 30-day program where it's going to educate you guys on the 800-gram challenge and teach you guys how to implement it into your life, how to customize it if you need it, and also kind of the science behind how you came to the 800-gram challenge.
Yeah.
I guess you could give a little bit of teaser.
Yeah. And I was actually playing around with a couple different diet ideas at the time of this idea of how do you measure quality in the diet. When somebody says they're eating clean, there can be a lot of different interpretations of what that is. And so I was thinking, how do you measure that? And playing with a couple different ideas when I came across a study that came out in the summer of 2017 that basically looked at how many fruits and vegetables people eat and then what happens to their disease risk in terms of heart disease, stroke, cancer, and then just all causes of dying. And it was a big study. They combined research from 95 different studies. And they found that at the 800-gram level of consumption, risk went down for everything. So risk went down for stroke and for heart disease and cancer and all causes of dying. And so because I had been playing with this idea of how do you measure quality, when I read that study, I was thinking, okay, that's it. What about if I try to eat 800 grams of fruits and vegetables each day and just sort of see what happens. So yeah, I actually implemented it for about 6 months before going public with
Going public.
which does sound so silly, but because, when you launch an idea out there, you want to think through the questions you're about to get, and does this item count or not count or something like that. And so I play, and what are the macros, and is this realistic, and how does this work when you travel? So I played around with it for a long period of time, and I just felt that no single day was necessarily that hard. But when you look back over maybe a month or a stretch of 6 months, you're like, wow, I really do have a higher quality overall. So there was one study that kind of spurred the thought of the 800-gram challenge idea. But I do want to remind people that with my rules and my approach, it's not exactly the same thing as what the science says. Like, I can't guarantee that your health is perfect because you do the 800-gram challenge or anything like that.
You can't guarantee that?
No, I can't guarantee that. But I think, again, it's a really great, simple approach to getting people to eat more fruits and veggies.
Yeah, so somebody that's thinking about purchasing this program and doing it, what would you say they would get out of this 30-day program that we've developed?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, it kind of reminds me a little bit of CrossFit in the early days when people would pull up the workout of the day and it would be a 7x1 deadlift or something like that. And people would think, that's it?
That's it?
That's it.
It's like 400 for time. That's it.
That's it. That's all you're doing today. And I'm sure people have that a little bit too. If street park at work, that's all you want me to do today. And so it's a little bit, I feel like that with the 800-gram challenge, that people will almost look over it because they don't think it's powerful enough. It's too simple.
It's not sexy enough.
Yeah, it's too simple. Of course, my diet's already really good. And I find that a lot of people, even in the whole food kind of larger functional fitness space, while they do have more fruits and veggies than maybe a standard American diet, they actually don't have quite as many as they think.
Let's talk, I think for ease, the 800-gram challenge is roughly 6 cups, excluding leafy greens.
Yeah.
Is roughly 6 cups. So would you say, let's speak to cups, because sometimes that can be easier for people to wrap their head around.
Sure.
How many cups would you say people?
Average consumption is probably around 2.5. Now, again, being in more functional fitness space, or you're, the street parking community, which is used to hearing about the Whole Foods thing, I wouldn't be surprised if the average is much higher than that, but maybe not all the way at 6. And so I think that's what happens when people actually go to implement this and add some type of measurement. They realize, oh, okay, I probably could be adding a little bit more of this stuff to the diet. So I think that's some of the great benefit of the program is people really, I like to use the phrase, put pen to paper and really see if what they believe about their diet is happening. So I think that's a good aspect of the program. And then also the education really came out of, after educating people about this for 4 years, what are the most frequently asked questions people have? Which fruits and vegetables are better, and doesn't fruit have too much sugar? Yeah, that type of stuff. Or how does weight loss really work? So I think we tried to incorporate some of that stuff so that people kind of get their questions answered as they go. And then, of course, ton of the great recipes that street parking has and stuff like that. So then we can really not just know the information better, but then when we go to the kitchen, we have a really simple way to apply it.
Yeah, so basically the way that these programs are going to work is each day you'll have a short video to watch. Some are a little bit longer. It's a heavy
sub 10 minutes, right? I think they're all pretty much sub 10 minutes though. So five-ish minutes or so.
Yeah, so a short video to watch each day, and then you might have a task, a call to action, and then basically the ability to log within the app what your grams were for the day, and any other notes, maybe eating out at restaurants, you were traveling, you got no sleep because you're kids. So it's a really great way to kind of track the grams and your consistency over the 30 days.
Totally.
Awesome. So I think one of the other questions that might come up is for our community is like, well, how are these different than the street parking nutrition challenges that we offer throughout the year? And I think the biggest thing for the difference is that this is kind of getting you to hone in on one thing, where our challenges might incorporate a nutrition element, fitness element, a water element. Maybe we're getting you guys to do mindfulness or, walking or something like that. So this is getting you guys to kind of hone in on one skill, one avenue, one portion of the diet, build some consistency there. And also, it's something that once you purchase, you have the ability to repeat, which was our challenge is obviously when you sign up, you have the information, and the way we did it, you can always repeat it on your own. But the difference here is once you purchase the program, it lives in your app forever. So you can go through the 30 days. Maybe you do it at the beginning of the year, and then you start to get into maybe the holiday, or you're approaching the holiday season. You say, you know what, I want to kind of go back through it and kind of see where I'm at with my consistency with my grams. Maybe I was averaging, 800, but now I see that I'm falling more below 500. So let's go back through it and kind of hone in the consistency, maybe hear a few more things. Because I think that's also something to it. If you can go through something and hear it, and then when you go back through it, you're like, oh, I actually didn't hear you say it in that way before. And now you can kind of pick up things as you go through it a second time.
Totally. I mean, I learn something new every time I do a new course with a group of people, right? So I think sometimes I'll hear people say, oh, I did the 800 gram challenge. And again, I know there's different ways to skin the nutrition cat. Like, I get it. It's not going to be a perfect solution for everyone. And I totally get that. But sometimes I'm thinking to myself, well, you didn't really, we still have to eat some fruits and vegetables, right? So this is a constant thing and it's so easy in our modern food environment to slide away from it. I mean, it's so easy. There's everything under the sun besides fruits and vegetables every time you go out anywhere. So it's so easy to, again, you just kind of, exactly what you said, you were averaging the 800, and it's kind of a slow slide down. I think the other thing about the programs, if I have it right, it will be available for when people are ready to tackle it. So it could be self-paced, right? Yeah. So sometimes maybe your challenges come at a specific time. What if you're really fired up to just get nutrition going in, mid-May or something, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't have to wait for it. If you're wanting to do it on a random Wednesday afternoon, you can purchase it and get started. That's the nice thing, is it can be done at your own pace, which is good.
Cool.
Why would you say you would start first with fruits and vegetables over protein?
I find that, that's actually, that's a great question, but there's a couple of different reasons. I find that people are actually closer to their protein target than they are their fruits and vegetables target. So to me, it's almost like we're doing more of a big change to the diet, which I guess you could argue from a sustainability perspective is not a good idea. Like most people would say, hey, let's start with something that's a little bit easier to do. But I think the shift of the overall diet is more powerful with the fruits and veggies add than starting with the protein. This is my bias, and I like to remind people of that. Plenty of different ways to skin the nutrition cat. Some people can start with the protein target, and they coach people wonderfully. But I also think that there is a little bit more flexibility with the fruits and vegetables because there's so many.
Yeah, way more options than protein.
That's the thing, especially if you don't like a certain protein. For example, I love salmon, but I don't love cooking it. And so I find that I don't have that in the mix as much. And so anytime that you have a reason that you don't need a protein food, you have less options. Where fruits and veggies, I feel like there's so many more options that it's easier for people to kind of work into their lifestyle overall. So it's kind of, I think there's a better shift of the overall diet. And I do think from a habit perspective, it's a little bit easier because of all of the options.
And I think what's beneficial about these programs is that we're focusing on adding things to the diet instead of removing.
Yeah.
And that's something that's been, a big shift in our community with, nutrition and things like that over the years, is that it's not so much focusing on, I can't have this, I can't have that, I have to remove this. It's saying, let's fill the diet with things that are typically underrepresented, that are going to fill you up more, that will naturally kind of push out some of those more, processed foods, but not telling you, you can't have this. Because this isn't a 30-day program where you're going to be like white knuckling your way through it to like get to day 31 to then like let the wheels fall off the cart and just, as you always say, fall face first in a box of donuts.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's meant to show you, hey, we can add these things in without the focus being on you can't have this or you need to remove that.
Totally. That's actually a great point too. The idea of the 30 days was not, yes, you do get a badge.
Yeah. Yes. We forgot to mention you do get a badge for completing these programs. We know you guys love your badges and flair.
I love it. Right. So you're going to get the badge, which is awesome. But the point of the 30 days, I really like that period of time because I think it's enough time where you're getting this daily content, you're getting different resources, such that it's enough time to set a habit. Now, habit change in diet lifestyle median in some studies is actually 66 days, which we talk about. But I do think 4 weeks is a good amount of time such that you have really worked on this habit enough that you can continue it on your own forever. But the other thing that I want to pick up on that you said was kind of focusing on the addition. When I came up with the 800 gram challenge, I knew that I wasn't restricting anything, but I now, after many years of running it, I guess I'm surprised at how much feedback I got that was people talking about how mentally freeing it was for them, that it really kind of flips the script on dieting and they just have a better relationship with food because it's not thinking about what do I have to cut out first. And yet they find that they end up reducing the items that they have to reduce, but it's not that same vibe about it. It's not like, oh my God, I can't have my donut. It's like, well, you can have a donut. It can be part of a healthy diet. Let's just focus on filling up enough of the good stuff. So I do find that it has been a really nice psychological approach for people.
Yeah, I mean, I think about it even like the great example is like my kids. If I tell them, we actually have this funny book and it's like, don't touch the red button. Miranda got it for my kids. And throughout the whole book, it's talking about Larry's red button, don't touch it. And the kids are always like touching it throughout, right? And I think that's the thing, when you focus so much on, I can't have this, you become very fixated on it. And I think it can be detrimental to people. Like They can constantly feel like they feel like they're failing if they have that food. You know, I shouldn't have had it. Oh, now I had it. I might as well just really let the wheels fall off the cart and go for it. So I think the sustainability of going through the lens of nothing is off limits. We're looking at adding quality into the diet and finding some balance.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting that I think almost that full out restrictions of stuff really does create that restrict binge cycle that we see everybody go through all these fad diets.
And I think
what if we take that away?
Yeah, and we've had experience. We've both, and we've something we've talked about. We've done a lot in our diet where we've really. I mean, you went down some rabbit holes.
Crazy. I went down crazy.
But it's great because then you go down those crazy rabbit holes, you gain experience, but then, we've all done it and we've been there. But what we've come to learn through working with so many people and practice our own selves is that it doesn't last.
Doesn't last.
And that's the thing too. I think how these are different than challenges as well is I think sometimes when you go into a challenge, you're very check the box mentality. I have to do this because it's 4 weeks. I'm just going to get through it. And I think when you can go into these programs knowing that there's a badge you can earn, but there's no shirt, there's nothing else on the line. It's just about improving your habits, your relationship with food, quality of your diet, and things like that is so huge.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. And I mean, as far as the program goes and the time commitment, really, I think people might, as we mentioned, there's videos that range. They might be, a few minutes up to maybe some longer ones. But really, I'd say the time commitment to, read the content, log, maybe if you go down to the resources and podcasts, it's going to extend the time. But I'd say, 10 minutes a day on average.
Yeah.
And then obviously the time committed to get in the task, whether that be the 800 grams. But these programs will also help support you with, how to prep food, some easy ways to get in your fruits and veggies when you're traveling, or some simple tips on how to break it up, or
going out to eat,
or taking a giant container, which is my favorite for the 800 gram challenge, and filling it up. There's going to be things in the program that will help you customize and implement it into your life, which I think is super beneficial.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. All about making that transition from knowledge to action.
Yeah. So I guess we can kind of why would somebody sign up for this program?
I think the better question is, why wouldn't you sign up? Now, of course I'm biased. Yes. Of course I'm biased, but I think overall, again, with all of the rabbit holes that we've gone down and just my continued research into the area, I think nutrition has just been way, way, way overcomplicated. And that you can strip away some of these details and beliefs that maybe you've held on to over the years and just get down to some essential pieces. And I'm going to tell you that fruits and veggies and protein are part of it. And it might not be exactly my numbers, but any person who has success with nutrition, this is what they talk about. They talk about filling your diet with whole foods. So again, I don't know who it wouldn't really be appropriate for.
Yeah, I kind of almost look at the 800 gram challenge like your home base for your nutritional habits. Maybe you might want to expand and try some other things, but they're kind of like when you strip it away and maybe you can't do those more extensive things that some people like to do with the diet, it's your home base. Consume more fruits, veggies, protein, more whole foods in the diet.
Totally.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So we're super excited to be bringing you guys these programs. We can't wait to work with you guys. We can't wait to get the feedback on everything. Yeah. Anything else?
No, I'm excited as well. I'm really stoked to have these as resources for the street parking community.
Yeah. So we'll be seeing you guys on the next podcast. And
yeah.
I don't know.
Thanks, Molly.
Thanks, Cece.